I caught my wife cheating with our gardener. Not in bed, not in a photo, nothing I could hold up in court. Just enough to kill something inside me. That morning I saw her pour him lemonade in my favorite glass, the one she hadn't touched in 2 years. She laughed when he said something. I was standing in the hallway, soaked in sweat from mowing the front lawn, and I saw her laugh in a way she hadn't laughed at me in months. That's when I knew. But I didn't say anything. I dried my hands. I finished the lawn. I sat in the truck and stared through the windshield for 43 minutes. Then I walked back in and kissed her on the temple like nothing had shifted. That's where it really started. Her name's Rachel. We've been married 13 years. No kids. We tried. It didn't happen. And by year 7 we stopped pretending it would. But we had a good life. A 3-bedroom house on an acre lot outside Springfield. She worked from home doing accounting for some national chain. I ran an HVAC repair company out of my truck. Business was steady. Life was quiet. Until she said the yard was dying. I had a guy I used once, years ago. Big dude. Did fine work. A little overpriced. I gave her his number. I already found someone, she said, flipping through something on her phone. I remember stopping mid-bite. You did? Yeah, someone local. Cheaper. He lives off Old Briar Road. Name? Mateo. She didn't look at me when she said it. Just scrolled to the next thing. He showed up 2 days later. Thin. Shirtless under an open flannel. Looked like a guy who should be tuning a guitar on a porch, not digging up flower beds. His truck was beat to hell, the kind you don't bother locking. I heard her call out, "Back here," before I even got the front door open. I stood in the entryway and watched her walk him around the side of the house. She touched his elbow when she pointed at the retaining wall. She'd never touched the last guy. When she came back inside, she acted like I wasn't even there. Just fixing the grating, she said. Some drainage issues. I said nothing, but I started paying attention. He came Tuesdays and Thursdays. Always before noon. Always stayed until 3. She stopped wearing her baggy house clothes on those days. Stopped tying her hair up. Started wearing tank tops, little denim shorts I hadn't seen in years. Once, I came home early and found her putting on mascara at 10:40 a.m. The blinds in the kitchen were half open. She didn't hear me come in. You going somewhere? I asked. She jumped a little. Just working in the kitchen. I have a Zoom call later. And makeup. It's a client thing. You wouldn't understand. She smiled when she said it. I didn't. The following week, I moved my Thursday call-outs to Wednesday. Didn't tell her. Just rerouted the day and parked one street over. I sat behind the steering wheel with the engine off and watched her walk out the back door with a plate of something covered in foil. She gave it to him with 2 hands, like it was a gift. He didn't take off his gloves. She wiped his mouth with a napkin. A grown man. I didn't confront her. I didn't storm in or scream. Instead, I started keeping a log. Tuesday, 11:12 a.m., she brought out fresh towels. Thursday, 12:03 p.m., heard her laugh from the driveway. Not normal. Louder. Tuesday, 2:41 p.m., he used the hose, shirt off. She stood next to him with her hand on her hip. The week after that, the front bathroom smelled like sweat and aftershave. Not mine. My razor was wet and the towel was folded wrong. I asked her if she used it. I showered, she said, like that explained everything. In the guest bathroom? I just wanted to feel like I was in a hotel or something. Is that okay? I nodded. And the next day, I installed a motion camera under the vanity. Not one that recorded, just sent pings to my phone. Movement. Nothing more. I didn't want evidence. I wanted a pattern. The pings came every Tuesday and Thursday, just before noon. Once on a Sunday. That one bothered me more than the others. She started humming in the evenings. The same little melody while folding laundry. Same tune while stirring pasta. I asked her about it. Just something I heard on a show, she said. Got stuck in my head. It wasn't from a show. I tried Googling the tune. Nothing. One night, I left my phone face up on the couch, opened to a random video of some woman talking about infidelity signs in a marriage. I went to brush my teeth, left it playing. When I came back, the phone was flipped over. I said nothing. The following morning, I watched her from the hallway as she opened the side gate. Mateo walked through like he belonged there. They didn't touch, but they didn't have to. The way she moved when she spoke to him, shoulders angled just right, hip cocked slightly, voice a little softer than usual, that was the touch. That afternoon, I offered to help with the lawn. You don't have time, she said. I'll make time. He's already halfway done. Don't bother. You used to like it when we did it together. She stared at me. Things change. I waited. Do they? She held my gaze a second too long, then walked away. That night I slept on the couch. She didn't ask why. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was taking inventory. She'd changed her passwords. Her laptop used to autologin. Now it asked for a key. Her phone never left her side. She kept it on vibrate, never flipped up. I tried to check her screen once during breakfast. She caught me. "Can I help you?" she asked, smiling like a blade. "Just wanted to know what time it was." She slid the phone across the table. Locked screen. No notifications. "You could have asked." I pushed it back. "I am asking now." She didn't unlock it. Just got up and took her plate to the sink. When Mateo showed up 2 days later, I watched them from the bedroom. She was in a sundress. No shoes. The patio umbrella was already open. She poured him a drink. He took it without hesitation. She looked relaxed. Lighter. I had never seen her look at me that way. I kept watching. And she kept pretending I wasn't there. She stopped calling me by name. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once. Just gradually, like it slipped her mind. It was hey, or can you, or babe, if she wanted something. She used to say my name like it anchored her to the room. Now it felt like I wasn't in it. I started noticing time more. Not in hours or days. In seconds. She'd pause 2 seconds too long before answering. Smile a half second too fast. Get out of bed 5 seconds earlier than her alarm. Every moment had a weight I couldn't name, only feel. Something was behind the silence in our house, and it didn't have a shape yet, but it had a heartbeat. The routine kept rolling. Tuesdays, Thursdays, always him. Mateo pulled into our gravel drive like he belonged there now. She never told him to park further from the house. He used to take the long way around the yard, respectful, quiet. Now he came through the side gate like it was his front porch. She always met him outside. Always. I started keeping track of her laundry. It sounds insane, but I knew what her drawers looked like, what shirts she wore, what bras she kept in the back, what stayed clean too long. Things changed. A lacy black pair reappeared after 2 years in hibernation. New jeans with tags still on, size smaller than before. A soft gray hoodie that wasn't mine, wasn't hers, and didn't belong to anything I could trace. She said it was a gift from Lydia. Lydia lives in Florida. I didn't ask again. She'd started jogging. That's what she told me. Helps clear my head, she said. I encouraged it. I said that was good. Healthy. But when I asked her route, she got vague. Around the neighborhood. When I asked how far, she said she didn't track it. When I offered to go with her, she laughed. You don't even own running shoes. I could get some. She smiled, didn't answer. I bought a pair the next day. She never invited me. Saturday morning, I followed her. I waited until I heard the door close, gave her a 5-minute lead, then slipped into my truck and coasted down the block with the engine off. I parked at the corner and walked. She wasn't on her usual path. I checked the park trail. Nothing. 10 minutes later, I saw her. Walking back from the Quick Mart 2 blocks over. No sweat. No jog. Just coffee in her hand and her phone to her ear. She was smiling. The same smile she used when her sister called from out of state. Not big. Not open. Just soft and personal. I ducked behind the dumpster. She passed without seeing me. When I got home, she was already inside. Good run. I asked, hanging my keys on the hook. She nodded. Felt great. I kissed her cheek. It was cold. She didn't flinch. The next day, I found soil under her nails. She said she'd been deadheading the roses. I checked. The roses hadn't been touched. I waited for her to leave, then dug at the base of the backyard tree. Found nothing. Not yet. Monday, she asked if I wanted to take a weekend trip. Just us. I hesitated. Where? Anywhere. Just to get away. Reset. Why now? She shrugged. We haven't been close lately. I agreed. I said it was a good idea. She smiled again. That same tired smile she gave the neighbor's kid when he sold her fundraiser candles. We never booked the trip. Thursday morning, I said I'd be working late. I wasn't. I left the job site at noon and parked 2 blocks over. Walked home through the trees. Climbed onto the old shed roof with a pair of binoculars and waited. At 12:36, Mateo pulled in. She came out 2 minutes later. She handed him something. A small cloth bag. He pocketed it. No hug. No kiss. No touch. But her shoulders relaxed like she'd been holding her breath for weeks. They walked the garden, slow. Pointing. Laughing. He bent down to check something and she stood close. Closer than she needed to. I couldn't hear them. But I watched every movement like it was code. She reached for his arm. Not to touch. just hovered there, then pulled back. At 1:11 p.m., he left. She sat on the patio for a long time after. I climbed down, got in my truck, and drove back around. When I opened the door, she called out, "Hey, you're home early." I wrapped up faster than expected. She smiled. "You hungry?" "Not yet." She poured lemonade, sat across from me, crossed her legs, one foot bare, the other in a slipper. Her eyes moved too quickly between mine. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah." "You sure?" I nodded. She didn't believe me. I could see it. She started cleaning the junk drawer later that night. We never cleaned that drawer. She pulled everything out like it mattered. Old receipts, paper clips, keys to locks we hadn't used in years. I walked past her and said nothing. She said, "I'm just sick of clutter." That night, she lay in bed with her back to me. I counted her breaths. They were calm, slow. Mine weren't. Friday morning, I found her in the garage. She said she was organizing. She hadn't touched the garage in years. I looked around. The shelf where I kept the old camping gear was rearranged. The bin with our photos, my childhood photos, was open. She said she was looking for the extension cord. That bin is on the opposite side of the garage from the tools. I didn't call her out. I just watched her close it without looking inside. That night I wrote it down. Garage. Been open. Looking for something else. Why? Saturday. I told her I was driving to my brother's place. I didn't. I sat at the bar on 9th and watched our house from across the lot. She came out 3 times in an hour. Once to check the mail. Once to talk to someone on the phone. Once to sit on the porch with a notebook. I wanted to know what she was writing. I'll never know. She burned the pages in the fire pit that evening. I asked what it was. Just some old stuff. From what? Nothing important. I stayed up all night. At 2:47 a.m., she got up to use the bathroom. I heard the floor creak. She didn't flush. I heard the back door click. I didn't follow. I just wrote the time down in my notebook. Next to it, I wrote one word. Unraveling. But I still didn't know how. The calls started coming from numbers I didn't recognize. Blocked. Out of state. One from a 222 area code I didn't even know existed. I never picked up. Not because I was scared of what I'd hear, but because I wanted to see if she would lie about them first. She didn't. Not once. Never mentioned a missed call. Never looked surprised when her phone lit up. She just swiped them away like fruit flies, silent and practiced. I started saving the timestamps. Thursday, 10:07 a.m. Call lasted 22 seconds. Monday, 3:13 p.m. 2 rings, no voicemail. Saturday, 7:46 a.m. Answered. 2 minutes. Deleted. I checked the battery stats on her phone once, when she left it on the charger in the kitchen. Safari had open tabs. Not porn. Not dating sites. Just long message boards about emotional burnout, loneliness, and finding fulfillment. One thread was titled, "What if your partner doesn't see you anymore?" The most recent post was hers. Anonymous, but her writing. Same syntax. Same habits. I recognized the way she used commas. I didn't confront her. Instead, I adjusted. I moved quieter in the house. I stopped slamming doors. I stopped dropping keys on the counter. I became a shadow, present but silent. Observing. Collecting. She noticed. I could tell. "You're like a ghost lately," she said one evening, chopping peppers. "You think so?" "I do." I let her sit in that silence. She kept chopping. "Are you unhappy?" she asked eventually, not looking at me. "No." "You seem disconnected." I shrugged. "I'm just tired." She put the knife down. "From what?" I stared at her hands. Nails painted pale pink. Clean, even. But I remembered when they used to be chipped from planting bulbs, from dragging old roots out of the soil. Now they looked untouched. "You really want to know?" She hesitated, then nodded. I think we stopped being honest with each other. She blinked. Twice. Then reached for the olive oil. "I'm going to sauté these," she said. "They'll get too soft if they sit." The moment evaporated. And that was the answer. The next morning, I tested her. I said I had a client meeting at 9 a.m. in Clifton, an hour out. Made a big show of gathering papers, putting on the old blazer she always hated. She nodded, kissed my cheek. "Good luck," she said, eyes flat. I drove 4 blocks away, parked in the lot behind the pharmacy, and walked home through the side trail behind the neighbor's hedge. The curtains were closed. Not all the way, just enough to say don't look in. But I saw the shape of her pass by the kitchen window twice. I waited in the shed for 48 minutes, watching shadows and listening to birds. At 9:51, I heard the back gate click. I peeked. No one there. Not him. Not Mateo. Just her, standing by the trash bin, holding something small. I watched her unwrap it, a piece of paper, maybe a letter, maybe nothing at all, and slide it between the boards of the fence. Then she went inside. I waited until dusk. When she was upstairs in the shower, I walked out, slow, quiet. I dug into the space between the fence slats. It was a gum wrapper. Just a gum wrapper. I stood there holding it like an idiot, heart thudding, waiting for it to explode in my hands. But it was just aluminum and paper. Trash. Or a decoy. She started writing more. I'd find scraps by the sink. Half-finished lists. Words circled. Sentences crossed out hard enough to dent the counter underneath. One read, "Don't forget the things that didn't happen." I kept that one. I taped it inside the notebook I kept under the driver's seat. The next week, she said she needed space. Not in a breakup kind of way. Just distance. I think it'd be good for us. You know, just a few days apart. Clear the fog. You want to stay somewhere else? No, she said quickly. I just meant, maybe sleep in the guest room. Or take a little trip. You've got friends upstate. Take some time. I nodded. All right. She looked relieved. Too relieved. That night, I packed a bag and drove 3 towns over. I didn't call anyone. I just got a room at a cheap motel and sat there in the dark, staring at the wall. My phone stayed on the table. No texts. No calls. Not from her. I came back early. It was Sunday, 6:12 a.m. She wasn't home. No note. No scent of coffee. No warmth in the bed. I checked the driveway. Her car was there. I checked the shower. Dry. I sat at the kitchen table and waited. At 7:08, the door opened. She looked startled, but only for a second. You're back early. You're up early. She smiled. I couldn't sleep. I looked at her shoes. Muddy. The tread was packed with pine needles. Our yard doesn't have pines. Where'd you go? She hesitated. Just walked the trail behind the reservoir. Needed air. You go often? Sometimes. I nodded. She didn't elaborate. I stood up, grabbed my keys. Where are you going? She asked. Hardware store. For what? New screws. Locks loose on the gate. She blinked. I hadn't noticed. You wouldn't. I left. I didn't go to the hardware store. I went to the reservoir. Walked the trail slow. I scanning the dirt. About a half-mile in, I found a small patch of trampled ground near the tree line. Nothing dramatic. Just grass pressed down in 2 spots, opposite directions. The shape of knees, maybe. Or just wind. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't take a picture. Didn't touch it. I just wrote down the location. And the time. When I got back, she was in the kitchen, humming. I didn't recognize the tune. That night, I lay beside her and listened to her breathe. Even. Slow. But her eyes weren't closed. And I still didn't know what she was hiding. She stopped locking the back door. For years, she was obsessive about it, double-checking every night, rattling the handle twice. Said it made her feel safe. Said she hated the idea of someone creeping in without a sound. But now, she'd leave it cracked for air. Just for a breeze, she said. I like hearing the wind at night. Only the nights weren't windy. They were dead silent. And I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to feel the air shift in the hallway. So I started waking up at 1:55. Just to listen. I never caught her outside. Not once. But her robe would be damp some mornings. Her slippers muddy. The back door closed, but never quite all the way. I told her about it once. You left the door open again, I said over breakfast. No, I didn't. I didn't argue. I just nodded. Took my toast. Ate it cold. She was quieter now, but not withdrawn. Not nervous. Just calm. Almost proud. Like someone who had a secret and learned to live with it instead of hiding it. She played music in the kitchen again. Kept the volume low, the kind of soft indie tracks with no hooks. I watched her once from the hallway while she cleaned the sink. She was swaying just slightly to the beat, lips pressed together like she was thinking through something sweet. The track ended. She hit repeat. Same song. 5 times in a row. I didn't ask about it. I just filed it away. She baked more, too. Pies, mostly. She wasn't good at them, but she smiled when she burned the crust. Said she liked the smell. I watched her hands work the dough and imagined what else they were doing on the days I was gone. But I didn't say a word. Because I didn't know. Still didn't know. I only felt it. And it was getting heavier. One night she came home late. Said she'd stopped at the grocery store for a rotisserie chicken, but came back empty-handed. They didn't have any left, she said. I opened the trash can while taking it out the next morning. There was a plastic rotisserie container inside, half a wing left in it. She never even offered me dinner. I picked up the wing with 2 fingers and set it on the counter. She saw it an hour later. Didn't flinch. "You went back out last night?" I asked. She tilted her head. "No. The store didn't have any chicken." "I told you that." I pointed. "Then what's that?" She looked at the wing. Back at me. "Oh, right. I forgot. I grabbed one from that 24-hour place on Eastridge. It was awful." She picked it up with a paper towel and dropped it back in the bin. "Why?" she asked. "No reason," I said. She smiled. The next morning, I called in sick. Didn't even lie about it. Just told the office manager I had a stomach thing. I stayed on the couch all day, under a blanket, TV off. Listening. Watching. At 11:20 a.m., she walked out the front door. Purse in hand. Sunglasses on. Said she was going for a manicure. I gave her 10 minutes. Then I got in my truck and followed the bus route until I saw her. She wasn't at the nail salon. She was sitting on a bench by the Dry Creek path. Phone in her hand. Not talking. Just staring at it. Thumb hovering like she was about to call someone and couldn't decide. After 15 minutes, she walked. Not toward the salon. Not toward town. Just along the edge of the creek to where the fence curves and the brush grows high. I didn't follow any closer. Didn't need to. She didn't come back with painted nails. But she smiled when she walked through the door. Kissed my cheek. Told me I looked better. "You should call out more often," she said. I smiled back. That night, she slept with the window cracked. Not wide open. Just enough to let the sound of insects bleed in. I lay awake for hours listening to nothing. When I finally slept, I dreamed I was standing in the kitchen, staring at the door. It was open. Someone was there, watching me. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Just stood there waiting for them to step inside. When I woke, the window was shut. Her robe was gone. In its place, her new running shoes, caked in red dust. I checked the soles. Pebbles wedged deep. Our soil's dark brown. I didn't ask. Just logged the time. 3:12 a.m. Wednesday. She started writing again. I found her old journal on the desk. She'd left it open, maybe on purpose. Maybe she wanted me to see it. One entry read, "You can't keep pretending. But maybe you can wait long enough for him to stop noticing." I copied it, word for word, then shut the cover and never mentioned it. The next weekend, she asked if I wanted to go to the lake. We hadn't been in 2 years. She packed a cooler, snacks, swimsuits, said she missed the water, said we needed time away from distractions. I agreed. We drove in silence for 40 miles. She hummed along to the radio. I stared at her reflection in the passenger mirror. She was wearing new earrings. I'd never seen them before. They caught the light every time we hit a curve. She caught me looking once. "You like them?" she asked. "They're nice. Got them on sale. Just felt like something different." I nodded. She smiled and turned back to the road. She was lying, but I still didn't know what about. She didn't come home Thursday night. There was no excuse. No fake grocery run. No breathless apology about getting caught up with Lydia or missing her phone charger. Just absence. Quiet and clean. Her side of the bed untouched. Phone off. No missed calls. No explanations. I didn't panic. I didn't text. I didn't call. I waited. At 6:02 a.m., I heard the door. Soft steps. Careful. Like she was trying not to wake someone. She didn't realize I was sitting at the kitchen table in the dark. She jumped when she saw me. "Jesus, what are you doing?" "Waiting." She opened her mouth, closed it. "Car trouble?" I asked. Her jaw flexed. "I was with Lydia." "No, you weren't." She blinked. Twice. That was all I needed. I stood up slowly. Walked to the counter. Picked up the small USB stick I'd left next to the fruit bowl. "I want you to see something." She didn't move. "I didn't put cameras in the house," I said. "I didn't follow you. But I didn't have to." She stared at the stick like it would explode. "I fixed your laptop last week. You left your Google backup on." Nothing. Not a word. I saw the photos. Still nothing. I know. That was when her face cracked. Not tears. Not rage. Just a slow, small sagging of her eyes, like her skin gave up the fight. She sat down in the chair across from me and folded her hands like she was at a job interview. "How long?" I asked. Her lips parted. Nothing came out. Then, 6 months. The number didn't hurt. What hurt was how fast she said it. Like she'd been keeping it in her mouth for weeks, ready to spit it out the second someone opened the door. "Where?" "Here. Sometimes. His place. Hotels." Was it him? I asked. The gardener. She looked down. Yes. I nodded. I sat back in my chair. Looked at her. Not the woman I married. Not anymore. You could have told me, I said. I was going to. When? When it felt safe. Safe for who? Silence. I reached down, pulled out the envelope I'd left under the table. I slid it across. Inside were 3 copies of the photos. Him shirtless, her laughing. His truck parked outside our house overnight. A receipt for a hotel room 30 miles out. Her name on the booking. She didn't open it. She just stared. What do you want? She asked quietly. I leaned forward. I want you gone. Her head jerked up. Gone. As in, I don't want you in this house another night. Not another morning. You pack a bag, you get in your car, and you don't come back unless it's for court. Her face hardened. You don't get to tell me, Elle. I stood. I do now. She stood too. You want to throw away 13 years? You already did. She went upstairs. Packed without a word. No screaming. No slamming. Just the soft drag of zippers and the occasional clatter of hangers hitting the floor. She walked out the front door at 7:09 a.m. She hasn't been back since. But that wasn't the end. 2 weeks later, I called Mateo. Blocked number. No ID. I knew when he'd be working another property 2 towns over. My buddy Steve had hired him on Rachel's recommendation. He picked up after the second ring. Hello. You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. Silence. I'm the guy whose wife you've been sleeping with. Still silence. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to threaten. I'm not even mad anymore. What do you want? He asked finally. I want you to come to my house. One time. Alone. No tools. You serious? Completely. He showed up 2 days later. I met him on the porch. Invited him in. Sat him at the table where she used to hum over her coffee. I'm not here to fight you, I said. I'm here to show you something. He looked nervous. Good. I slid another envelope across the table. Inside, copies of the documents I had filed. Civil action. Harassment. Trespassing. Emotional distress. Intentional infliction. I have security footage. I have messages. I have statements. If I want to, I'd bury you in court. His jaw twitched. But I won't, I said. Because I'm not interested in watching you lose. I leaned closer. I'm interested in watching you disappear. He swallowed hard. You don't come near this house. You don't text her. You don't talk to her. You don't think about her. You vanish. If I hear your name again, I file everything. He looked me dead in the eye. She came to me. I know. She said she was unhappy. Said you didn't care. I know what she said. He shifted in his seat. You done? I nodded. He stood. Then you won't see me again. He was right. I never saw him again. As for her, she called once. From a new number. Left a voicemail. I don't know who I am anymore, she said. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I kept the voicemail. Played it once every night for a week. Then deleted it. Some nights I still wake up and think I hear the back door creak. But it's always closed now. Always locked. Because I don't wait in the dark anymore. I let her lie to my face. I let her dig her own hole. I just made sure she never crawled back out. Subscribe to hear more stories.